Many people think that those who have achieved absolute fame and wealth were born with everything they need to fulfill their potential. However, on several occasions, we can come across stories that involve genius and the will to succeed, with some not so easy and even pessimistic situations that have the power to bring down even the most inspirational of workers. Achieving success requires work that, if not done correctly and making good decisions, can lead to stagnation that, in the long run, has the capacity to destroy everything you have worked for. Many millionaires know the risks they're exposed to, and part of their fortune comes from that very uncertainty. Did any of them know what they were facing when they had to leave work for a certain corporation? Did they know the grueling working hours they would be subjected to, or the pressures that would be placed on all of them? No. No one is born knowing what the future holds, but it is through hard work, patience, and perseverance that each and every one of them has achieved their goals. Anything can be achieved if it is done with all the passion and energy we have, and Bill Gates is one of the best examples that if you want to achieve something, you can do it. Let's learn a little more about his life and career. We're sure they'll be in for more than one surprise when they find out what you put on your CV. William Henry Gates III, better known as Bill Gates, is an American entrepreneur, computer scientist, and philanthropist who was born in Seattle in 1955. He was the second of three children, the son of a prominent lawyer, William Henry Gates II, and Mary Gates. He was an executive of First Interstate Bank and a professor at the University of Washington. From an early age, Bill began to show a taste for technology and what was behind it. He liked to know how many things work, and without his realizing it, it was guiding him towards what was to be his life's path. Gates's passion for computers came at the age of 13, when he was a student at Lakeside Private School in Seattle. Thanks to the school's Mother's Club, which participated in a charity raffle, the school was able to obtain a computer for student use. Few came to investigate the machine and decided to learn how to use it, and Bill can be counted as one of those lucky ones. At that time, little Bill and his friend, Paul Allen, learned to program simple games in front of that huge device, which was a PDP-8 model, which had been manufactured by Digital Equipment. At the time, the computer cost $18,000. It didn't take long for the machine to become a member of their team, nullifying any secrets they might have kept from each other. Quote, "I'm sure one of the reasons I was so determined to help develop the personal computer was because I wanted one for myself," Bill Gates has said on several occasions. In recent days, it has attracted a lot of attention that these facts mentioned above were part of the curriculum vitae that Gates himself drew up when he was 18 years old, just when he was a freshman at Harvard University. As is well known, the CV is the basic business card for anyone who wants to find a job. Even the most successful entrepreneurs had to establish one at some point in their lives, and Bill Gates was no exception to that rule. What is striking about this fact is that 48 years later, the billionaire has brought this document to light via the LinkedIn network, the letter of introduction with which Gates knocked on the doors of many companies that might be interested in hiring his services. According to his CV, the employer aspired to work as a systems analyst or systems programmer. This, despite the fact that he had not finished his studies at university and had what is now known as, quote, limited experience in independent practice. Recall that in 1973, Bill Gates entered Harvard University, and 2 years later, dropped out of his studies with the aim of opening his own company dedicated to the creation, assembly, and development of computers. Without much capital, and with the uncertainty of not knowing whether this venture would succeed, the two men set to work, which gradually led them to venture into the business world. In 1975, Gates and Paul Allen discovered in Popular Electronics magazine an affordable microcomputer that could be assembled at home. The processor's name was Altair, and it featured an innovative 8080 chip from Intel. Allen got his hands on the 8080 manual, and he and Gates spent 5 weeks writing a version of the basic programming language. They would end up delivering 50% of it to a company in Albuquerque, New Mexico. By the following year, the friends moved there, and the rest is history. That would be one of the most important moments in the lives of both characters, as well as a division that would mark a before and after, in their lives and in the lives of many others. Though no one knew it, dropping out of college to pursue his dreams would be the best decision Bill Gates could have made. One that would lead him to achieve his goals, even if at first glance that information would not look good on a resume. You could say that was the turning point in Bill Gates' career, so we'll take it as a split to mark the middle of the video. Is that thumbs up in yet? Let's move on to Bill Gates' CV. Shortly after leaving Harvard and making their version of the programming language BASIC, Gates and Allen founded the computer software production company Microsoft Corporation. This company has made him a lot of money, and with all the creations and innovations that have come out of it, Gates has amassed a net worth of approximately $129 billion, according to the latest tally in Forbes magazine. This amount far exceeds the salary he asked for on his CV, which was $12,000 a year. This figure by today's standards would put Gates in the millerista category. However, this was well above the average salary in the United States, which at the time was about $8,000 per year. In Spain, the term millerista is given to workers earning 1,000 euros gross per month. Being a millerista has become the lowest legal remuneration for a full day, thanks to the latest increase in the minimum wage. Explaining that this is over, and returning to the Microsoft co-founder's CV, Gates himself has joked about his CV repeatedly. Quote, "Whether you're a recent graduate or a college dropout, I'm sure your resume looks a lot better than mine did 48 years ago." And wow, you're right. If we take into account that Gates only had a couple of formal jobs in the field while he was building Microsoft, we can say that his resume is much more empty and lacking in education than that of other billionaires today. Very few would dare to ask for a position as a systems analyst or programmer without the theoretical or practical knowledge. The truth is that, although Gates has made this document public through LinkedIn, this cover letter is on display at the Living Computers Museum in Seattle, and had already been shared by the journalist specializing in the digital world, Harry McCracken. He also shared the CV of Paul Allen, co-founder of Microsoft Windows. The text was not far from that of his partner and friend. They were looking for the same salary and the same career goals. As always, Bill Gates never ceases to amaze us. Every passage of his story seems to be a school for those who think or want to achieve success. His books, his notes, his foundation, everything that surrounds Gates' world is a source of attention in the markets and in society. And that concludes today's video. Although most people are familiar with Bill Gates and all he's done, by now it should be noted that the tycoon was not always the entrepreneurial figure who now has several companies and foundations. He started out like anyone else, and thanks to his dedication and good management, we can now say that he has achieved everything he set out to do. Now it's your turn. What do you think is the secret of Bill Gates' success? What would you do if you had the opportunity to start a company but leave your studies behind? Would you accept the offer, or would you prefer to stay at university? Leave your answers, comments, and suggestions below so we can read what you think about these videos. Thank you very much for sticking around so far. Subscribe and leave your like. See you next time.